What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up?
Yo, what it do? What it do?
Man,
What's up?
I'm glad to have y'all on here today. I got a nice topic I want to discuss. We're gonna get into it. I'm gonna play it real quick and then see what you guys think about it. Especially you, Boombox.
He said,
Modern women can survive without men. Yes or no?
Okay, my answer is succinct. It is no, but I will say that modern men can't survive without women. I heard your
Hold on. Before you say that, I gotta. What state do you live in?
California,
And how old are you?
39.
Why can't we survive in the world we built?
So I have a pretty simple argument, and it's that you all need us to procreate. And
No. Listen. Young lady, the first woman I talked to. Survival and reproduction are two different things. We don't need you to survive. We need you to reproduce. You need us to survive and reproduce.
All right.
Let's get into this action.
What you think, Boom? Do you think you need men to survive, or do you think you would be able to run this world, a relationship, or even raise kids without a man?
Well, I hate that I'm by myself. But anyway,
She's like, whoa.
Not really. It's just okay. Yes and no. There are some things that we will be able to survive without men, but there are a lot of things that we would not be able to survive without men. Will it balance out surviving? Probably not, but you live and you die. That's just it. You can't. It's certain things that you can't do without a man, and certain things that you can.
And what are some of the things you
You're
can do
not about
without a
to
man?
interrogate me, sir. You're
I'm
not about to
Okay.
interrogate me.
Okay, all right. Rance, what's your thoughts?
I think the way the question, y'all can hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way the question is phrased, that Dr. His name Kevin put it, was like to survive. I think that changes the how you can answer the question to survive. It's like versus do we need each other in general? So we got to remove our egos and say, okay, depends on your situation. If you're just a man or a woman and you're living life, you have no kids, nothing, you don't need another person to help you live your life. You can do whatever you want to do, black girl magic, guys going on their trips together, whatever, Dubai stuff, hanging out. You made it this far without being married or having kids. That's cool. You didn't need a woman or a man to get through life. Now, if you add certain things to your life, then it comes to where I need help. So I need a partner. And if we're going to remove homosexuality, just going to say a regular, normal, heterosexual relationship. Yeah, I need a partner to help me get through this life together, because if I'm going to be the breadwinner, I need somebody to help if we're going to have children, raise the kids. So I need that type of help and support at home. And the perfect example is just being a truck driver. I can't be in two places at one time, unfortunately. I'd rather see my kids, but I got to be on the road to make the money, right? So she does what she can at home. So to answer that question, it just depends on your situation. Like I said, I think we put our egos and be like, I don't need you, and black girl magic, and women can't do nothing for me but have babies or stuff like that. And it's just, it's that chauvinistic and that ego getting in there and clouding up the real answer. Because we needed our parents growing up, but as far as like your early 20s, you didn't need a woman in your life to make your life better and complete, right? You know, nor the woman. You just wanted somebody to hang with that you was attracted to and see where it went from there.
Mm-hmm.
GMT, what's
Yeah.
up?
So, me just kind of understanding a little bit more context to that conversation. You know, I was an avid watcher of him. I did watch him a lot. And it was more in detail because a lot of the women were saying, we don't need men at all. So he would always do a reference to a show called Bear Grylls Island. And on that, it was like women had to survive on their own. Men had to survive on, you know, on their own. And it was like, okay, well, who would need each other at the end of the day? So that's what that was just the basics, the basis of the show. Women had a harder time surviving without men. They were pretty much on the brink of the producers having to save them so that way they could survive. So it goes along the lines of, okay, a lot of women are saying men aren't relevant, which goes to that topic that you hear when a lot of women are saying, I don't need a man. Men are irrelevant, meaning that if there was no men in this world, women will be okay. So when he was saying that we built everything, so then now we're in just the process stage of maintaining. Could women maintain the world as it is? And the answer to that is, to the degree that we are in right now and what we have, no. No. We maintain the power, the AC. We maintain the roads you drive on. We maintain the cars that you drive in. We maintain it all. So, you know, I don't know. My answer to that is hard no. Embrace the grace. What up? What up? Thank you for joining the show.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So yeah, and those were my thoughts too. Like there are a lot of women out here that say, I don't need a man, which I think causes a lot of the extremes that are going on today, where you have the dynamics of them trying to do everything themselves, and also in the back of their mind, they think that, hey, if no man exists, I could run this world the same way that you could. And the point is that if men didn't exist, we would just be fine, which would be a bald-faced lie. Yeah. So the way that Kevin Samuels brought that up, which I thought was a great topic, was, you know, even in relationships, when you're raising kids, when a woman says, I don't need a man, this is where we have all these adolescents just growing up and doing a whole lot of things emotionally and not logically, because a lot of that I don't need a man is an emotional response to either past trauma or things that they've been through.
Okay, I have somebody commented and they said, I would say as a single woman, I'm definitely surviving without men, but I do believe we are created to be the other half.
And I personally would agree with that. You know, that goes along the line of what Rance was saying, right? Rance made a good point to say, we don't, today in modern times, just looking at men and women, the male and female dynamics, we don't really say need each other like men, you know, are by ourselves all the time. We end up going to nursing homes, and we need our women. We need women to wipe our ass, right? But then when you turn around and you break it down to the opposite end, there's women that's surviving by themselves as well. Now, when you look at it, how these young women preach it, it's a borderline. It's not even borderline. It's straight disrespect and disregard of a man. And that's where the problem is. Right. You know what I'm saying? When you could straight up disrespect a man by saying you ain't relevant, I'd rather live with a bear. Did you see what the bear
comes from? I've heard.
Yeah. I'd rather stay with a bear than stay with a man. All right, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but a lot of that comes from not having that visualization of what a man, how a man should be carrying himself on a day-to-day basis. So they see that the mother is working hard, coming home, cooking, cleaning, providing, and all of that. And a lot of times the father's already gone. It could be the same scenario, or it could be, that things took place to where the mother and the father just parted ways because they got tired of whatever the situation was between the two of them. So they decided, like, okay, well, it's better that we're apart. So then usually the kids are at home with the mom. Most cases, the kids stay with the mom. So and let's just say that those kids are girls, and the girls are watching the mom do everything. And the father just comes, drops in here and there. And so she's showing them, like, that you have to do this with or without a man. She may not verbally be saying, oh, I don't need a man, but her actions are showing that she doesn't, because she's still providing for the children, and the children's needs are still getting met with or without that man being there.
Yep.
So, sometimes it's not necessarily what we say, but it's sometimes what we do that can also display the father not being in the picture, or why the father's not in the picture.
Link, do me a favor, check the private chat. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. You was about to say something, Rance?
It's just I think you said it's how it's being purveyed or stated. Like, I don't need no man. Like, it comes across disrespectful because men don't say we don't need women. It's like we desire women, we want women.
Absolutely.
So we just say we need women in our lives. And to go back to the Bear Grylls thing, like, and it piggybacks on the scenarios in life. If you're in a village, the men are out fishing, hunting, doing whatever, right? And the women were back there making the baskets to catch the fish, or they would cook the fish, or they're tending to the village while the men are out hunting. So that dynamic worked, right? Because they didn't need to be out there swinging axes and chopping trees down and lugging trees, because it was a strength, a physical society, versus now women can do whatever in, let's say, America, go be doctors. Of course, you don't need a man to take care of you financially if you are a physician, right? You're good. So it's about really what you want. So you can sit there and say, yeah, I don't need a man. It's about what you want, because we just kind of just cater to the mindset of the woman, and then they just disregard, well, does a man need a woman? And then what do they think of? Oh, yeah, because we want to have sex. You got to look at the memes nowadays for Father's Day. The guys are like, stop giving me sex for Father's Day, doing extra stuff for Father's Day. It's like birthdays and how, what I'm saying? So it's just like they always boil it down to a physical aspect for us. Like, oh, y'all need women because y'all are men. Y'all want to have sex, stuff like that, versus, any other dynamic in a relationship that we may want or desire. So I think it just depends on the situation. But at the end of the day, do we need each other and have to have each other? No, society has made it easy that you don't have to leave your house to eat or go shopping or do anything. So we kind of don't need a lot of anything anymore. It's about really what you want, and then, moving forward with that. Do you need a man to have children? Yes. I don't even know why we're disregarding that fact. Like the lady said at the opening of on the thing, she was like, we're for reproductive. I'm like, you still need a man to have the baby. Even if you're doing in vitro, you still need the sperm to fertilize the egg. So.
But I think in the future we would live in a society where we wouldn't even need to have kids. And when that happens, because men right now have not made themselves useful other than, being sperm donors. So what is your use for society?
So
Wow.
I'm sorry. You wanted to touch that link?
Wow. So when I hear stuff like
That's
that,
me.
Well, and nice to meet you. Is your name Zed?
Yes, sir.
Nice to meet you. And thank you for tuning in and coming on to the show. But this is the way I want to answer that. When people think that men are not useful in this world, when all of infrastructure, I mean, you can change so many things, but men have been working on everything for thousands and thousands of years. And then for women to say, how are men useful? When everything you use, everything you touch, even the stove, electricity, the cable we're on right now. For that be said, that's what we mean by the disrespect that men go through every day, and how women try to make men feel worthless when men pick up the majority of the load of everything that's going on a day-to-day basis. And this is why some women out there, I don't know if what is it, your status, but some women out there say men aren't anything, because men are now looking at women like, hey, our women aren't looking at us as valuable. Like, we have no value, and women have all of the value in the world. Even what you're saying, they may do away with men having babies, but you have to go to the extreme of something that's biologically incorrect.
Here is the thing. All of you guys are black men, right?
Right.
And if we are looking at inventions, black men have contributed almost very, very, very little invention. But I will never say that, black men are not, black men are somehow not needed because they didn't invent things. The reason black men were not able to invent things as much as white men were is because black men were either under colonialism in America and in Africa, or slavery here in America, and a very gruesome racism in America. That's the same reason you do not see a lot of invention by women, because we live in patriarchy, where we are not given the opportunity to invent things. You cannot just invent things by sitting at home and just thinking them up. You have to have access to resources to be inventors. So you guys saying that, everything I use is invented by men, I would say, everything I use is invented by non-black men. So what does that say about black men?
You said black man. Oh, go ahead. You can have that one, GMT, because
I'm sorry, I got a little carried away.
Go ahead.
So black men, do you know the lights that you're using in your room right now? There was a vital part of that was invented by a black man. Do you know most of the furniture in your house, the ideas came from black men, and white colonizers took the ideas and made it theirs. A lot of the things that you do in this lifetime, period, the car you drive, there's parts that keep the car vital to even create it, that was created and invented by black men, that white men took the ideas and did not give black men credit for. Black men have contributed so much to this society for us to even be sitting on this internet right now, talking to each other. So I wouldn't put black, without doing the proper research, I wouldn't down black men as much if I were you.
Black men have a whole what is called continent, Africa. Africa is not inventing anything. So to say, and you know what? And I am someone who knows how racism works, how colonialism destroyed Africa, how racism here in America affects black people, or of all gender. But the point I'm trying to make is, you cannot say that right now, even the inventions you mentioned are so minute. You literally have to go like, oh, we didn't invent car, but we invented one part of car, like the car. Most of the invention.
It took multiple ideas to come together to invent one.
some of the ideas were stolen from women. I mean, there is a woman who helped, the computer.
I
Some
agree.
of that.
I agree.
So what I'm saying is that you cannot use the argument that a lot of the things invented are made by men. Well, a lot of the things invented by here are invented by non-black men. So you cannot say that women depend on men because you guys invented everything. But a lot of the black men have not invented that many things. So does that mean you guys are dependent on white men?
Okay, so I'd like to answer that one right there. So did you know that black men invented mathematics? Did you know that? Did you know that we invented astrology?
Absolutely not. And I do. It's not that I don't know. It is that I know you didn't invent.
Yeah, we invented mostly everything you use. Everything.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You cannot just use 6 degree of separation because black people did this, and then this looks like. Tell me the black people who invented astrology. But astrology is not even science. I don't even know why you are bringing that.
Can I ask something and say something? So you're saying that our worth is not as good as a white man's worth.
That's what it sounds like.
You guys are saying that. You guys are saying.
No, you saying that.
No, you're the only one saying that.
They are saying it because they are saying that because white men invent things, women are dependent on men, and I'm saying that white men invent things much more than black men do. So.
How did you know that?
You brought it to the race thing. We just said men in general. But
we just said men.
Yes, that is what I always do. Because sexism, black men understand sexism. I mean racism, but they do not understand sexism. That even black women were not able to contribute to invention as much as men did is because of sexism. Just the same reason black men were not able to to contribute to invention as much as
but then you alluded to that. We have Africa, and not a lot of stuff comes out of Africa. We get that. What I'm saying is that you brought this to light because you saw a panel of black men. Like if it was 3 white men on here, you probably wouldn't say that because we're talking about men in general. But what you have reduced us
exactly
to make things a little bit more clear is like you have honeybees, which are valuable, and you have wasps. Nobody knows what wasps do. I'm sure they have a value somewhere in the insect world, but nobody
did she
likes
leave?
wasps.
Oh,
nobody likes wasps. We kill wasps, but you were supposed to protect honeybees. Right, so that's where you've reduced us to. Is like we don't do anything. The black men are the wasp of the bee world, pretty much.
You said that. I didn't say. I didn't say that. You said that.
Zed, your argument to us was we're not deducing women to nothing, right? We're saying we need women. Right now, you came on the panel and literally said that men are going to be obsolete in the future.
Yeah.
Then you broke it down to a black man argument. Then you almost even, I believe you said something about women are going to be able to reproduce by themselves without men.
I didn't say that.
I don't know. You didn't say that? Am I tripping?
No, that's exactly what you said.
No, what I said is in the future we would get to a future where people would stop reproducing, which is
so. If people start reproducing, that's the end of the race.
Exactly.
That's the end of mankind. Period.
Exactly.
Right. But that's not going to happen. Well, people are out here having all types of sex.
Okay. So if that's going to happen, I think sperm banks will be a thing. Men would just, so we could live in a society where men would only be needed for reproduction. I mean, actually, men would be. We need men. We need men because men can do jobs. But what I do not like is this idea that we have to get married to men, we have to date men, we have to have a relationship with men. Is what I have
Quick
problem.
question. Quick question. Is your preference a man?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the reason why I asked that question is because it almost sounds like you are opposed to men 100%. That's all that I'm hearing in every single word that you speak, is that you kind of don't feel like men deserve to be valued. Is that correct?
Men should be valued just the same as women should be. What I have problem with is you guys, saying that because we we need you more than you, almost like valuing yourself.
Okay.
That wasn't what we were
I can
saying.
understand what she was.
Yeah, go ahead and answer that, Boombox.
No, because I didn't
Okay.
understand where she was going with what she was saying, because I was like, okay.
So when we
I
started
don't know,
this,
a lot of this I don't agree with, but basically she's just saying that based on the clip, how can a man say that a woman is not as needed as he is, basically?
well, that wasn't what we were saying. So when we started this episode, it was about women saying they don't need men at all, and men never say that we don't need women. So I hope that clarifies it a little bit, because a lot of women say, hey, I can do better without a man. I don't need a man to raise kids. I don't need a man to survive. If all the men disappeared, we would all know what to do. We'd be able to reinvent everything in under 6 months. That's how the whole stream actually goes. And that's just not logical.
And then also, it's not about what black men or any man is building, right? The world is already built. What men do is maintain the world today. We maintain the skyscrapers. Listen, if not, you could go get a job like that. You could go dig ditches and go in tunnels and, coal mines and drive trucks. If that's what women want to do in mass, I believe women will, because the world is free. You can go do that. So why aren't women choosing those jobs? Because it's a man's job. We are not just here to reproduce and that's it. We're here to essentially build and keep the world running. Just like women have a vital part of the world as well. And it's to nurture the world, to inspire men. Women have done that from the beginning of times.
That is, I don't want women to be nurturing. I want women to have like the jobs you mentioned. Less than 10% of men are doing them right now.
Tell women take the jobs then. Go work in the coal mine.
You know what?
Can you repeat that last part again? I'm sorry.
Can you repeat what you had said, the last part that?
The jobs that he mentioned are not being done by every by every man. So bringing these jobs up like they think it's their trump card. It's not. And in a lot, like if you look at, I am in Switzerland right now, and we were passing by. There is I think they're building, either expanding or building this train station, and I saw 2 women, and they're not like they're not skinny women, but they are regular sized women. So women will probably be taking over these jobs in the future.
So I have a question. I got a question. What is the percentage of women do you think that are actually wanting to do that job?
Probably less than 1%.
So that's the point right there. Women automatically do not want to do those jobs.
No, neither
but I will say,
men.
But I will say, if women had to do it, they would do it. If they had to do it, but
yeah, you think if women had to work in coal mines, they'll work in coal. You know what it looks like in a coal mine?
I think that if they had, like, if women are if their backs are against the wall, they have proven time and time again that they will do what they have to do. You know what I'm saying? But do they want to? No. I mean,
yeah.
Neither do men. Men do not like those jobs.
I wouldn't say that. I aspired to build streets when I was a kid. Like that was something that I always wanted to do. I wouldn't say
Maybe
that we don't aspire for that.
I'm
because
a flatbed
those are
driver, so
back-breaking jobs.
My man's a truck driver.
and I
Oh,
yeah. So I
we men can be
yeah.
truck drivers.
No, what I was going to say was that to piggyback on what Portia said, if you have to, yeah, because in the 40s, when the men had to go to service, I mean World War II, whatever, Rosie the Riveter and all the sisters and everybody had to go into make the mill shops and the metal shops and stuff like that to make the airplanes and the weapons and things of that nature. So they'll do what they have to do. It's just, I think it's a societal thing, and to what my man was saying, like it's a physical thing too, where you're not built to be strong. You can be. We're not knocking you for that, but that's just what we're built to do.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna take it back to I'm a biology major, so this is what I look at. You in the lion kingdom, who does the hunting? The lioness.
Yeah.
She brings the kill back, or they jump on the kill or whatever. They do their thing, and the man is there for reproduction and major protection, right? And that's just the nature of lions. We're not gonna look at any other cats, but you know what I'm saying? It's like that's just the nature of lions. So we have our roles, and even the fact that we're asking this question feels like it's a plant question for the black community, because I don't see Asian people and white people asking themselves these questions. They know where
Right.
they fit in. You know what I'm saying? I think it's for us for that divide again for something else. And I have a daughter. She's a lesbian. All right. So I'm not getting on any about it. But I mean, there seems to be a certain dynamic that always seems to divide us every decade. And it seems to be a plant. So where we aren't bettering ourselves and evolving, they are always trying to divide us with these little questions that are juicy and get a lot of likes and stuff like that. But then it's like I don't see the Hawk Tuah girl saying she don't want a man or whatever. It's just
Well, that's
obviously she
true.
does, right? So it's
What is dividing us right now?
I mean the mindset though, because
The
you have a
mindset.
lot of like if my daughter continues or any this is the wrong way to put it. The WNBA seems to be a lot of lesbian women, which we ain't gonna talk about it, but if you got a lot of girls growing up watching and want to be in the WNBA, they're probably going to trend in that way as well too.
Okay.
Like say a lot of gay men were NBA players. You think a lot of brothers right now be letting their son play basketball? No. That's why we don't let them do ballet and ride horses and do other stuff, because we think it's gay, right? And that's so
Well, that is your. I mean, you have. You are talking. I mean, I don't even think the WNBA is not influencing anyone. I mean, like less than 0.1% of Black women are playing in the WNBA. So only a deluded person a child would think they are going to grow up and be in the WNBA. But what is how are you? People cannot be influenced into becoming. I didn't understand anything, Papa.
I'm just saying, as far as
Can you
like
do me
just being an influence on how we are. You said that you don't think this is dividing us, but it's a question that is dividing us to where we start to think, I really don't need a man, I don't need a woman, and then we really ain't reproducing because we just want to be by ourselves because men are aggravating, and then I do want to be with somebody, so I'll be with a woman. Or
Hold
I'll
on.
be with a man.
White people have the lowest birth rate all over the world.
I believe that.
So Black people, I mean, birth rates are going to go down everywhere because giving birth is getting pregnant and giving birth is very like it is a very painful process, and raising kids is a very it's not painful, but it costs us a lot. And so women all over the world are having fewer and fewer children. It has absolutely nothing to do with race.
I don't think it has anything to do with the intense pain of labor. I think it's just people are getting wiser and not understanding that they don't have the financial means to be ready for a child just yet. I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with the labor pains, because if it's their first child, they don't know anything about the labor pains. You can tell you can tell a person as much as you want that it hurts, but until you're in that position, they don't know, because you cannot describe that type of pain at all.
Right.
Hold on 1 second, Boom. Let me play this real quick.
Yeah, play that video real quick. I don't know. I'll play it on my side.
All hands hoist the colors high. Evil thieves and beggars, never shall we die. All together, hoist the colors high. Evil thieves and beggars, never shall we die. The bell has been ringed.
And I wanted to show y'all that real quick so you can have an idea of how real we're talking about. It takes actual physical strength to do those type of jobs. You know what I'm saying? It is not something that we could just say, okay, well, if women really had their backs up against the walls, they could go work on an oil rig. It's not that easy. It actually takes physical strength that men obtain. This is why God built men a certain way.
I do not disagree. That's why I've never said that a man is not needed.
Yeah, but not you. I was talking to Zach.
Listen, as soon as you played that video, I don't even see her anymore. Like,
here's another thing. Like, Portia can relate because she's a truck driver as well. But flatbed, I'm out here. There's plenty of women out here that do flatbed, and I'm talking about 120 pounds. And to secure your load, you have to have that load of certain tightness so you don't be on the news because your truck done rolled over.
Or you done dropped something on somebody.
And I'll take it a step further. I like flatbed, but it is not something that I can handle in the wintertime because I do not like being cold.
And I want to address that comment too from Lexi. Lexi, those machines have to be operated. So yes, there's machines, but there's not machines to operate the machines. Just saying. It takes manpower to do it.
Yeah. But like again, I still stand on a woman will figure out, how to do something if her back is up against the wall. And that goes for men too. So like I kind of understood what Zed was getting at when she said, don't say that one is not needed and the other one is. I think we all play major roles in society, and I do believe that we do get conflicted and lost in why we're here, and we are here to evolve. It's not to say that one sex is superior to the other. Like, we're here to evolve and be a team to one another. And that's. Am I tripping?
Right. Somebody's phone sounds like it's
right. Somebody's going on, but
it's me.
But yeah, it's just the idea that just the disrespect when you hear all these things being said about men's value, and I really feel like they don't value women for the most part. Don't really even know the value of the man that's standing right next to them, or the one they're going for,
and
vice versa.
Any parent, we're gonna. Especially the dads, we take heart to that. We have daughters. I don't know about you, GMT, that we have daughters, and we like, hey, I'm going to show you how to change the talk. I'm going to show you how to do everything so you don't have to call anybody.
Right.
You know, change a tire, cook spaghetti, whatever the case may be. We're really saying that we lighten it up to say, I'm gonna show you how to do all this stuff between a flathead and a screw Phillips head, so you don't need a man. It's really just so you can be independent and don't have to ask anybody, because women are handymen too, you know, or handy women. You know what I'm saying? They have landscaping businesses and everything. We're training our children, and especially our daughters, not to be dependent on anybody. But I think perpetuating the fact that we don't need men is where it's wrong, versus
Right.
I don't want a man. I don't want to be in a relationship with a man because men are toxic or abusive and all those Tyler Perry type, you know, scenarios that make you say, hey, maybe being with a man isn't good. That's probably why we have all these interracial commercials now where let me get a white man, you know, maybe different over there. You know what I'm saying? So I think we got to really
man,
it's about semantics of saying, do I want a man or do I need a man? Yeah, you know.
Okay, so when you put it like that, then men do have to take some of the blame, because
Yes.
then you're definitely raising your daughters in the aspect of not needing a man, you
Right.
know, and not saying that you shouldn't do these things, but I think in the lesson it needs to be like, just in case you don't have one,
You know how to
versus
do
you
this.
not needing one.
Right.
And
Because a lot of the stuff that we would teach you is physical, like GMT was saying. We're going to show you how to do, you know, cut the grass or anything that's necessarily physical, so you ain't got to call your neighbor over or anything like that, because we know as men are creeps. And you ask him to do anything for you, fix your mailbox, he's going to try to holler at you, whatever the case may be. So we just trying to alleviate a lot of that foolishness too. So you don't need anybody, and you are not dependent on anybody, just like moms teach their sons how to cook and, you know, do a lot of domestic stuff or whatever, because you need to know how to take care of yourself. So again, it goes really to, do I want somebody to share life with versus do I need somebody in my life? Because we can all five, whoever's on this in this group, we don't necessarily need that person to help us live, right? It's just cohabitating that makes it easier, because we want to expand our family, so we share duties. Just like when we had roommates in school or earlier in our lives, you like, hey, you get this half of the bill, you get that half of the bill, so we can have a decent apartment. We ain't had to live in a roach shack. You know, we can level up and live on the good side of town, and we split the bills and stuff. You know, so it's really just a partnership versus. I think we're men are offended by the answer that we see a lot of the girls on the memes and the sexy reds and the songs and stuff like that. I don't need a man, and then we don't want I guess the youth to hear that, because they're going to think I don't need a man. It's like, but you want one, right?
Right, and that's the question I asked Ed. Like, what's your preference? Because it sounds like there's little to no value when you're speaking in terms of men to her, and it's just that's preposterous. Like it doesn't work like that. And I do get your point in where it's like we're raising young women to be independent, but we're not raising young women to say, hey, I don't need a man. We're raising them to be able to be out here in this world and not get snatched up. Not to be on that billboard that says, hey, a white Nissan Sentra plate XX20, you know what I'm saying, has your daughter. Not to have us say, hey, I'm not going to have the logical thought that I don't need a man, and then go out here and reproduce and then mess up generations to come because you just thought you was going to do it all on your own, like a Tupac song. And then next thing you know, you got sons and daughters that's being raised that's out here turning into sexy reds, that's out here turning into Juice WRLDs and stuff like that, that's doing stuff that a man would have told them, hey man, straighten up, do this, or hey young lady, you don't carry yourself like that, cross your legs. You know what I'm saying? Saying that you don't need a man is saying to leave everything on one gender, and there has to be a balance, the yin and yang, and it's just impossible. 1 second,
let me read out what Lexi Lex said. It says, okay, she commented twice. She says, so that's why women have been choosing the bare based off of experiences. Some of the men they've come across. And maybe it's not women devaluing men as a whole, but just devaluing the men they've had experiences with. I'm sure if they came across the right man, then they'd handle that man differently. And I wholeheartedly agree with that, because a lot of times you run into guys that give you the representative. We had this conversation, but they give you the representative, and then all of a sudden, once they get you in a place where you're comfortable with them and you feel safe, then all of a sudden they lose it and they become a whole nother person. And now you're unsafe, unstable, because they're unsafe and they're unstable. And you don't want to experience nothing like that ever again. So you choose to put yourself in a bubble where you feel safe. Does that make sense?
And I think that goes right back to having a man in your life that models and shows you what a real man looks like. See, a lot of the time the blame goes right back to the man, but it's also the choices that woman before you made to have your vision set on these low, because we're talking about men, right? And you have different levels of men. You have high value, high level men, and then a lot of these women are going for the lower level men. You know, and so when they're making these choices, they're blaming their bad choices on all men. That's what it looks like. I don't need no men aren't this, men aren't that. And so the thing is, you're making these bad choices, not you per se, but women are making these bad choices and then turn around and saying, oh, all men ain't ish, all men ain't this. And that's totally incorrect. You have men that are out here that are really good and they get looked over because they might be quote unquote lame to society. They're doing all the right things. They're focused on building a legacy, and they get looked over. And then you want to go to the guy that has the look, you know, and that guy is 9 times out of 10 gonna dog you, because a guy looking for the look is also just looking for, you know, that quick thing.
Yeah.
So that. Oh, sorry, push.
No, go ahead.
That clip that we played that we played last night on the show. You happen to have it?
Last night on the show. I don't have
it. Which one?
I have it if y'all want. I can
go ahead.
Pop it up. The one that we discussed. Oh, okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I have it if y'all want. I can
yes,
share
sir.
it with y'all.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just to kind of give context of where we could play that chicken or the egg argument all day long and try to say who's wrong. But we have to kind of, I believe in order for us to truly fix a problem, we have to understand the problem and where it derived from, right? And that's the only way we can move forward. We know that in America, there was a system set up to divide us. Yep. So knowing that is the reason why we have so many issues today. Now, we can't talk about no other community. We got to talk about ours. But feel free to share that whenever you're ready.
Aren't you always saying that? Aren't, you know, a lot of Black men saying that feminism came from white women? So white women have been criticizing their men for centuries. So it's not, you know, just Black women who are. I am a feminist. And
I'm not Black. I'm not white. So I'm talking about white. I'm talking about.
But you said it is something that is, you know, that we only Black so community engages in.
I'm talking about what the problems we have, because our community is at the bottom statistically in America.
And that has absolutely nothing to do with the division. It has everything to do with
everything to do with the division, man.
That's right, Lex.
It has everything to do with the division, Zed. The reason why I would say, play that video real quick, and then I'll explain my point.
Raise your hand if you're married.
You got to put us down.
None of you are married.
You got to put us down.
Play it in the band or something. It will clear us, and then it will put us in the side, and then it will play it.
Yeah, it's hot. It's exactly. It's the format you're playing it on. You have to use a different layout.
The layout that puts, you know, the yes. Oh,
that's
no,
you got Portia up there now. What up?
I can't get it. Oh, let's see. No, let me see.
Go to. Are you on your computer or on your?
Yeah, I'm on my
laptop?
computer.
So there is something that says layout, and then choose the one that would put us all, on one side
On
and
the
play.
side.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
I had problem too when I was first running my StreamYard, because StreamYard is not really. I don't like that.
Layout. I do not see it.
So layout is under us, right? Under your
Okay, got
screen
you.
here.
Let's see if I got it right.
Raise your hand if you're married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. It's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down, because I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so it really, male figures are not substantially important in the family.
So then you go back to your layout, and then you bring us back up. So why I asked to play that, right? I played it last night, and what I discussed is the reason for the divide. So knowing that the feminist movement was something major in America, I don't know where you're at, Zed. You said you're in Switzerland. I don't know if you've ever been to the Americas to understand what exactly we're talking about, but I was born out here. So I'm only speaking about out here. I'm not speaking about anywhere else in the world. I'm not talking about Africa either. I know in America, the divide that we have right now had to start with that feminist movement. It did. Black women chose to sign up and on for that movement. When they chose that, they chose a system that caused the divide between the black men and the black women. If you ever read something, my advice to you is go read the Moynihan report.
The Moynihan report is a racist report, because here is the thing.
Yeah, but there's facts in it, though.
When that, by the way, I do live in America. That's where I live. I'm here on vacation. When that report came, Black people actually had a rate like 61% or so marriage rate. The marriage rate was high. It was just not as high as white people.
No, Black people were married prior to 1960 at a higher rate than white people. We were married at 80%.
I don't know if that ever. You have to show me the data that says Black. I have. I mean, I have been studying. I don't think there was a time in American history when Black people had higher marriage rate than white people.
The reason why it wasn't because it wasn't recorded.
Yeah.
As often. But Black people were. Known.
No,
are you serious?
Yeah, I am very serious. Black people have never had a higher, because here is the thing. Marriage is not just between a man and a woman. It is a societal. Society has to create the condition for you to get married. And America never created a condition for Black family. The Black family is almost, it was created by almost Black people fighting for themselves. And so the Black family has always had problems, and there is not been a time in American history when there were the rate of marriage Black was greater than among white people. If you could give me that data.
So it says in 1960, 61% of Black adults were married. By 2008, share amongst white. So white people were married at a 74% rate. No, sorry. 1960, whites were married at a 56% rate in 1960. And I'm looking at that just Google, Pew Research. Google.
Hold on. So why don't you post the so it's like read it again?
I see it says in 1960, 61% of black adults were married. And then now it has a bunch of other stuff. And it says amongst whites, the marriage rate dropped from to 74%. In 1960, the whites were married to at 56%, which dropped. So
no, you are not. You are actually not.
Am I reading the wrong research?
Yeah, because this is what you're reading. It says
hold on.
The white marriage rate was 70-something%. Right now, it has dropped to 56. The black marriage rate at that time, in the 1960s, was 61%. And I mean, so yes.
How could I share my screen? I'm trying to figure out how to share actual words. I can't.
But why don't you post the link on, in the private chat, and I could show it, because you just read it. Do not skip the paragraph. Read it from where it says the black marriage rate was 61%.
I'm reading further right now. I'm reading further.
Okay.
I'm making sure I have the exact right research, because what it looks like I read was something about after 1960. So let me just make sure I have my facts straight. But y'all could go ahead with the conversation while I'm reading.
So this is what I was gonna, and I will limit my. So this is what I'm going to say. The Moynihan report was a racist report. The idea is that there is this thing in America, or in a racist system everywhere. Whenever black people do something, that thing is seen as bad. For example, rap music, they couldn't even, rap music at one point, they wouldn't even give them, a Grammy, this Grammy or what, or the other thing, or, on the stage, they had when the marriage rate was 61%, Moynihan said that, the black family is destroyed, But when the white marriage rate was 61%, no one has made a report saying that the white family is destroyed. So the Moynihan, I am almost sure I'm not saying his name right. That report is not something I would quote. It is very racist. It is with that.
We all know it was racist though, but it still had facts in it of exactly what was happening with the welfare system. So it could be racist all day. Just like what was that when they was talking about butt breaking black men? What was that letter? The Willie Lynch letter.
Willie Lynch, yep.
It was racist as hell, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it had facts in it of what was happening and what they were doing.
But that letter is a fake. It's not true. It's not real.
Prove that.
So let me ask you a question about statistics that are being read. If you're saying it's fake and it's not real, and a lot of things get put out, a lot of stuff get put out
When did I say the statistics is fake?
I ain't saying statistics. I'm talking about the Willie Lynch letter. You said that was fake. Prove that.
Okay. All you have
right. But what I'm saying is when you're talking about statistics and certain documents that come out and certain history, sometimes everything's debatable. Everything is debatable, even statistics. Because there's some variables that are always left out. Can we agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
Because hell, we can even go back to simple elementary where we can say they said Christopher Columbus found America. Then we find out that's fake. So a lot of times statistic-based stuff and whatever documents that are put out there is mere, what do you call that? Just deception at its best. So what we have to look at as a solution is how can we fix what's going on that we can visibly see, that we can tangibly touch. Because we can argue all day about numbers and we can argue all day about what's going on. But what we see in our community day to day, how can we change it?
Yeah. even what you said about the the Christopher Columbus thing, even when you heard that and you sat there and listened to your teacher at whatever grade we talked about Christopher Columbus, you're like, so there was Indians already there. So how you discovered? But did you just still rolled with it?
You still rolled with it.
As a society, we just rolled with the information and perpetuated, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, you know what, we're gonna be in agreement. He's indigenous holiday now. We're not gonna celebrate him. 40 years later, after not 40 because I'm my age, but just when we started our demographic, when we started learning about him. So my question as far as that before that was, do women need their black fathers?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then it'd be important for you to have for women to say, yeah, I need a man in my life for my children.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, everything breaks down to what you actually can see. Use your 5 senses, use your common sense, because we can say.
Oh, he just went. I can't hear anybody.
I can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have myself on mute. But I just pulled up the report about the statistics about white and black. I actually shared it, so if y'all could share that on the screen, and we can get into it. Where blacks were married at a higher rate. I'm showing it to you now, and I was wrong with the dates, and I admit that was from 1890 to 1940. Those were the exact years that blacks were married at a slightly higher rate than whites. If you want, we could get into reading the whole thing.
Okay, go ahead, read it.
I ain't reading the whole thing, but I'm just saying. You said to pull it up and read it, but I can barely see it when it's pulled up. But if you want, you can read it. You told me, or I can put it in the back chat and you can read it.
Yes, put it in the back chat.
GMT, even a couple of years ago, CDC came out and said that black men are in their children's lives more than white men. So I mean, we're just
no. That study is useless.
Oh my God! It's a statistic that is put because there's been a narrative that black men aren't in their children's lives, and
they're not.
Was your father in your life, Zed?
Hold on. I am from Africa, so my case is different, right?
No,
but
what I'm saying is that
there's
a statistic showing that they are more in their lives than white men. It's just been a narrative, and it's been the butt of all the jokes of all the NBA and football players that they don't have a dad. When in reality, that they do take care of their children. It's been a part of the system of
manipulation,
black people
misconception.
No, I mean,
keeping us apart.
Do you know that 50% of black children are being raised by single moms?
But they still okay. You're a single mother doesn't mean you don't have a dad that you see just as much. Just because
but
you're not married,
they abandon their kids. It's not like the dad is.
But that's what I'm going to talk over. That's what the statistic was showing.
No, that's not what it says.
They're still
that's not what it says.
Lives.
The ones that are involved, which is a minority of black. But
no, go ahead.
I think too. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut anybody off. Y'all got silent for a little bit too much. But I think too, like, because you just said something that is very detrimental, because you said you were from Africa, and so it's different. It's really not.
It's different in one way. I mean, in Africa, the marriage rate. I mean, where I grew up. I'm an Ethiopian, and I grew up, in a city. In that city, I might know 2 or 3 kids who were not born to married couples.
That's arranged marriage, right? Something like that.
Yes, a lot of it is arranged. My parents were definitely arranged marriage, but of course I don't support arranged marriage. But here is the thing: by the way, the fact that Ethiopia is a poor country tells you that, and we have very high marriage rate, tells you that, marriage doesn't create wealth. Marriage doesn't create, anything. Wealth, and everything else is created by public policy, not by.
Well, and I do get where, well, that would factor in a lot, because, and not knocking arranged marriages, but when you don't have the choice, see, this is the thing that women a lot of times seem to forget, is that choice is the most important thing in life. That's that if you don't have no choice, then that does make it kind of a bad thing, because marriage in America, and I can just speak for in America, it's supposed to be something where two people made a choice to come together and build something. And I can even say for my situation, like if I wasn't going to build anything, I would have never got married. I probably would be running the streets like the road runner, But when you're forced into something, then it doesn't seem that good, because you didn't have the choice. And all like even a lot of people fight for choice to have kids, or they have their body to have the choice to either have or not. When you don't have the choice, then that kind of disintegrates everything that you stand for as a human being. So I can definitely see why you say it's different in Africa, because a lot of the times I say, well, if you don't have the choice, do you even know if you really like that person that you got set up with?
Exactly.
Right.
But there is this thing. The society, the society I grew up, it is so conducive to getting married.
Right.
When you have kids, there are, a lot of people who will come, to raise the child with you. Your cousins, your, like the whole
village.
village. But in America, there is not that much support, especially for Black
Correct.
women.
I definitely 100% agree.
So Black
I
women.
missed that last thing you said. There's no support for Black women.
In America, the support looks different, because a lot of women, she's saying in Africa, a lot of women come together to help raise that child or family. And in America, the support is a lot less likely.
I think the support in America falls more on the government for a lot of Black women.
Right, because you guys don't have that same.
Not get any government. That is the thing. There is this narrative that welfare destroyed the Black family, which doesn't make sense. Because if you look at statistics, less than 30% of Black people at any time were receiving welfare. So how could?
But check this out. It's not even about the statistics. It's when you look into the deeper motive of why it's done. So if you give a Black woman the means not to need a man, so basically say the government gives you Section 8, or they give you what is that thing called for Southside?
WIC.
What is that called?
WIC,
food stamps, a roof over your head. Guess what? You start saying, I can do it all on my own, which is not realistic. So then what does that mean? I can do it all on my own. I don't need a man. Because guess what? You sometimes in this economy, you kind of need two incomes. You kind of need, if you're on the lower part of making income. But when you got the government assisting you with a place to live, food in your stomach, did we lose her? Food in your stomach and all that, then the female says, hey, forget the dude. I can do all the better on my own. I can weigh all my options, everything that comes through. I can say yay or nay. I can stick my nose up in the air. I can buy me a brand new Lexus, but I live in the projects.
Okay, I got a question.
Go ahead.
In what ways could a man help prevent this situation from continuing? Like, I know we say that the women have said this, right? But in what ways can the man, since he's supposed to be the leader and the provider and the protector, in what ways can he prevent this narrative from continuing? What ways can he stop it from transpiring in the home if he's already in the home?
If he's already in the home.
As far as this question, that
like that, I don't need a man. Let's just go back to.
I think it's a Black question. Like I said, I'm gonna go back to all this divisiveness. And if y'all remember that movie, Deep Cover with Lawrence Fishburne, and I forgot the other main actor in that movie. And in the beginning of the movie, he was interviewed by the cops, and the cops said, "What's the difference between a black man and a nigga?" And he said, "The nigga's the one that will answer the question." And what I'm saying is that we keep falling into these things like a woman should say, think about the question and be like, I don't need a man, but it's how you say it. It's like, I want a man. I want a father to my children. I want a mate, a soulmate, or whatever. If you see what I'm saying, it's not about, because if you ask a dude the question, he's like, yeah, I need a woman. At the end of the day, I haven't needed a woman in the last 2 weeks because I've been on the road that long. But what I'm saying is, I want my wife. I want to be with her. I want to be in her company. I want all the biological aspects, the oxytocin, all the stuff that's released when you hug somebody, when you see your kids and stuff. You see what I'm saying? It's like when a woman, I'm not a woman, but you say, do you want kids? You don't need kids, but you want kids. You need kids for your genes to keep going, but you know,
you need them to survive? No.
No, you don't need them to survive. Right. So I think to answer your question, Portia, is this the woman would just say, I want a man, but I don't need a man. You could drive from Columbia, South Carolina to California without a seatbelt, but I don't recommend it. Did you need your seatbelt? Not necessarily, but it's a good idea to have it on.
Right.
It's just it's about what you want.
Right.
I mean, but okay. It's hard for me to answer that question as a female because I already know the importance of a male, and I do not agree with a one parent home. Like even my parents, they separated when I was 18. They divorced, and it still devastated me, even at 18. And it was time for me to start figuring out what I was going to do with life at that point. You know what I mean? But my parents, they were still good friends and everything like that. So I was appreciative of that, but just the impact of when I still remember to this day when I got the call, like the divorce is final, like, ugh. So I understand the importance of a male being in the home and having that 2-parent dynamic. And just something about it for the child is very prideful. It is different for the child that does have both parents there in the home with them. Yeah. But I guess my question goes back to like, even with the woman saying that, because we all get into those moments where we both, the man and the woman, have been in that sense of, I don't need you, or I don't like you, or I don't want you right now. You know what I mean? Like that in that moment. Mm-hmm. But what ways can we start looking to resolve and help like our younger generation that are probably still in just the dating phase, but they still have a kid together? Like what ways can we encourage them to work things out on the male aspect of things?
So
because the reason why the reason why I'm asking this question is because a lot of times the woman will just say, okay, well, just go, leave. And then the male, you just see him just going out the door. Like, because she's saying leave, so you just leave.
Is that somebody that she's dating or she's together with? She's been with.
Well, they're together and they have a child.
Okay.
They have a child, because we're looking at it in the sense of it being like a small family, or they could be married, but they're young. They're still needing to learn how to work and navigate sticking together.
Right. There you go. They need to learn. I think what you said before that is just learn behavior too. Get out. I'm mad at you. Leave. Mm-hmm. And then you followed up with, they need to learn how to work together. So just like we learn to kick a dude out, you also got to learn how to make that thing work too.
Right. What's your thoughts on that, GMT?
So My thoughts on that is what you know me. I'm big on marriage, right?
Mhm.
Regardless of what people say. Do I feel like you need a marriage if you don't have children and all that stuff? No. But if you're gonna bring a child into the equation, the best way you can statistically raise that child is in a two-parent household.
Right.
So there's really no argument to that. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking at a world like how Zed was saying, I guess where women just stop procreating, then yeah, we don't need each other. But if you want to bring on this next generation, I believe we need to start promoting togetherness and stop promoting this one way of I don't need this, or I don't need a man, and for men, I don't hear it as often, but you don't hear I don't need a woman because I believe we know the value of women. I need my wife. I will never say I don't need my wife.
Right. We've been devalued.
I will never say that. Yeah.
We've been devalued. Yep.
So you promote marriage. You promote marriage. You promote family. You promote strong fathers and strong loving mothers. Then yeah, that's how we get this back together.
Right. Right.
And what about you, Link?
So you already know in the beginning, right before I got married and a little bit into marriage, I used to say marriage is just a contract. I used to look at it like that. It's only in perspective. I used to look like, we don't really need to get married. We're losing tax benefits. We could file differently. Yeah, I don't like my money going together and all this other stuff. And next thing you know, I started really seeing the value in marriage because I started seeing how women or men were single fathers and single mothers. And I started seeing how much it hurt these kids. These kids couldn't even function. Then they getting diagnosed with ADHD, and teacher trying to slap them with Ritalin and stuff, mess up their mind some more. They acting out in school. They don't know what's going on. Then I started seeing like when kids see two parents in the home working towards a goal and they start looking at their parents back like, that's what I want to be one day. I want to be that dynamic duo like my parents. They feel safer, it looks like to me. And this isn't just in my relationship. This is in multiple relationships where the kid looks happy. But when they're broken up and the kid really wants to go with that other guy or that other woman, they start acting out in a relationship you're in. So it tears down the relationship that you're trying to build. Like, and that's another topic I'm gonna bring up probably next week. Where does blended families work? Because blended families, I believe, are the hardest families to build, especially when you don't come from them. So yes, am I for marriage? Definitely, because then you got two people that should be building with the same focus, and then you also have a generation that you're going to build that's coming before you, and you can build that right legacy where everybody is all hands on deck. Because when everybody isn't all hands on deck, you got nothing but chaos. I'm talking about chaos emeralds. Like stuff is flying all over the place. You got your own family from the inside trying to devour you, along with the rest of the world that's trying to beat you down. So people got to really realize that marriage isn't a bad thing. A forced marriage, just because you made a oopsie. Some people say I made a little happy mistake. Yes, you might need to work it out. But then if you know you got somebody that's toxic, that might not be a good idea, because you might end up divorcing in the first place. You know what I'm saying? But then you also can try to communicate and have things work out. Go ahead, GMT.
No, I was gonna say everything is a risk, right? Marriage is always a risk. Just like any business idea is a risk. Everything we do is taking a chance, but you got to look at the risk that outweighs everything, right? I'm looking at it like marriage. When I have my child, I cannot instill the things in my son as for what my wife could do. What she has to offer my son, there's no way me as a man could do that. Same thing, vice versa. Me as a dad, she cannot offer my son the things that a man can offer him. So this is why, like, a lot of people now are straight devaluing marriage. The biggest thing is now you guys, Rance, Link, both of y'all are fathers to daughters. So the key for y'all, and I know you, Link, personally. So the thing I see and talk to you about is you're teaching your daughter how to be a woman and how to get herself ready if marriage is her option, her choice.
Right.
So then now when she's in the dating market, she's going to start to go after the right type of men. She might make a mistake here or there, right? But the values you instill in her as a man and just Boombox as a mom, she will never lose those things. So she'll always come out better on the other end. If you don't have that dynamic, the chances of that happening is so slow that the person's gonna actually choose the right person because they don't know. They never seen it. So they grew up in a single parent household. Now you're telling them to choose better? They don't know what to choose. They don't know what to choose. We only choose what we know. So this is, sorry, I'm a big advocate and I'm very passionate about
No, talk that talk.
marriage. I'm very passionate about it. And I push it and I tell people, get together. But before you get together, learn each other. Figure out, is this what you really want to do in life? Then make the move. But when you make the move, it's the move. Hey, Cookie.
Hi.
You made it, huh?
Late show.
Might want to turn your phone sideways so that you can see us a little bigger. There we go.
Okay, but we can't see Cookie.
Yeah, we can't see you. We see your kneecaps.
Are you driving?
We wasn't trying to see your cookies, Cookie.
Right.
But yeah, we were basically just in here talking about how important it is to get married and all of that. Then we had some pushback a little bit about, if men are important. And yeah, we're definitely going to stay tuned for that next show that we're going to have, Do Men Wear the Panties. I know you want to come to that one, but we're not on that one this time. Sometimes. But yeah, so yes, it's really detrimental to have a man in a relationship because, even when we're talking about the next generation, for our kids to develop a healthy world, a healthy new world, so to speak, because they go rampant. And that's why I believe men are very, very, very important in a relationship because, for me, I have two sons by my wife, and without me being there, I think they would just be super, super duper duper off the handle. And they also need somebody to push them in sports, to look at somebody be athletic and be like, I can do that too. Instead of just being stagnant and just standing there and thinking they can't do anything, give them the values, like know how to change a tire. You know how many dudes out here cannot change a tire? I seen a dude struggling at QT the other day, looked like the four-way was going to flip him over into the concrete and create a pothole. And I was shaking my head like, wow, dude. And I said to myself, he must not have a father because he can't change a tire, So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
When I hear people saying that, no, I don't need a man, or men aren't important, or they don't show the value of men, I almost think that even breeds people. Like I used to think that crumbs make roaches. So I think that when women say that also is like, men are like, oh, well, they ain't gonna value us anyway, so let's just keep doing what we're doing. Let's just do whatever. The men that don't know any better, because you kind of breathe life into what you say a lot of the times, so that's just my take on that.
Yeah. So my parents got divorced when I was 13. My dad died when I was 21. I don't know the years, but let's say 20-something years. My mom's been by herself and just doing her thing. Has she needed a man physically? Yeah, she gives me and my brother, or she hires somebody to do whatever for her, that because she's 75 years old now. So of course she needs physical assistance to do things, but she still does a lot for herself. She's not feeble. She's just 75. And I guess that question is just, I'm gonna go back to the semantics. Is like how the person asked the question, because I'm just imagining these questions that are asked, like on YouTube. Does a woman need a man? Of course they're probably drunk when they asking the questions on, Bourbon Street. No, I don't need no damn man, carrying on. It's just like, you're not really listening to yourself because you needed your dad, or you needed somebody in your life that was a dude to get through. I think it's just semantics.
I agree with that. I agree. I totally agree with that. A lot of this stuff is just internet questions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In real life, we know essentially we need each other.
Right.
And whether we want to admit that or not, innately, everything we do involves the opposite sex.
Right.
So,
Cookie, in what ways do you need a man?
It's hard when you got a house, you buying a house, and then all the repairs, the yard work, and that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then trying to find somebody to do the work and do the work right.
Mm-hmm. That is important.
Yeah, that's important to have a man around for them reasons.
What about when it comes to the children? In what ways do you need that man
Well,
around?
A lot of women say they can teach their son to be a man, but you really can't teach them to be a man because you're not a man. I always tell them I only can teach them how to respect women.
Mm-hmm.
They have to. I want them to respect the female, and as far as like going out to doing the simple things like Trey was saying, the changing a tire, even doing brake shoes, they need hard labor to go out there and do change brakes. I mean, some women out there that does it, but I'm not gonna be one to go get out there and do it. That's let the man do
but
it.
they should be honest, because these are the things that even like you said, you can do it, but do you want to?
Foundational Black says true, Cookie. So he definitely agrees with that, and so do I.
Yeah.
I endorse it.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
it's just
Go ahead.
So
I'm not saying and on top of all that, like a woman should not settle for less because she need them things done too. I mean, a
Right.
man gonna have to respect her and love her the way she deserves to be loved, instead of okay, I'm doing all this and I'm still gonna go out here and play. No.
That's right.
I agree. I agree with everything you're saying, Cookie. Definitely you see the value in men. It's very important, especially when it comes down to rearing children, raising these kids out here. The statistics show fatherless children are more than likely to go to jail, more than likely to suffer from depression, more than likely to commit I want to be YouTube friendly.
Not alive yourself.
Unalive yourself.
Yeah.
So we got to be mindful when we say what we don't need. But like I said, the problem that I see is a lot of women are saying they don't need men in relationships, and that in and itself, yeah, like I said before, if you're by yourself, you don't need a man. But if you don't have no children, you might not need to be married in that instance. But once you involve a family in the situation, well, yeah, I get it. To me, marriage is important no matter how you look at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to rearing children, to me, at its highest, it's its most important, part.
Yeah. I can agree with that, most definitely. Because at some point, especially with young men, young boys, once they get to a certain age, it's like you have to have that father step in to do, the redirecting, I'll say.
Right.
But here's the thing. You can create that without marriage.
Oh, absolutely. You can create it without marriage. We're just pro-marriage.
Yeah, but this is what I think. Marriage is disadvantageous for women. We would benefit. I mean, I am someone who believes that women should just have sex with men and then just go their own way. We should not be we should not have boyfriends or husbands. But
Zed, you got children?
I don't. I don't have
Okay.
children.
I think he waiting on him.
It makes a little bit of sense now why you're saying that.
And then, so let me ask you this, if you don't mind. I know this is a touchy question for females. How old are you?
Oh, it's not achieved by the absolutely not. I am 48 years old.
Okay. Okay. So in your mind, so what was the longest relationship that you were in, and did you still wish that you're in that relationship? If you're not, because it sounds to me like you don't condone long-lasting relationships. Is that right?
I support relationships. I mean, however way you want to run to have them, but I do believe that relationships do not benefit women. So the only thing I think we need from men is sex, and I don't think you have to get married to men to have to get sex from them. I don't know what yeah.
Okay.
That's
So
really
it sounds like you
interesting.
don't want to be in a serious relationship.
Well, she's
No.
saying she doesn't want to because she feels like being in a relationship is more beneficial for the man than it is the woman.
And how is that? Can you elaborate on that, Zed?
Okay. Women do the cooking, cleaning, all the household stuff unpaid. We are not paid for that. And then we are also like people who claim they are traditional. They do not want us to work outside the house. But a lot of us want to work outside the house because we love our career. So what relationship does is there is this submissive.
Go ahead.
So I do believe relationships are not beneficial for women because unless we create a society where men do half of the house chore, literally half of it, not helping around, but literally half of it.
I do
Then
probably 85% of the house chores.
Yep. See, and there are men
but
that
you
do
are
that.
the exception. You are the exception. You are
I do
not the rule.
too. I do too.
Okay.
You
So
are
that's
the
two.
exception.
And,
You are the
Okay,
exception.
so
and I cook certain. Okay, so we're the exception.
Right.
so I look at it like this, right? To say that a woman does, you look at like you mentioned, a housewife. To say that she doesn't get paid for it. A housewife, like my wife, and let's take it off of me, right? Let's just look at the average housewife. To say she doesn't get paid to stay at home. Okay, if you want to go out there and work, fine. You want to have somebody else tell you what to do and make you a little bit of money, that's cool. If you're talking about not getting paid and I'm the one bringing in the money so you can live the life you want to without having to get up and go out to work, wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go punch somebody's clock, your pay is to stay at home. Your pay is when you want to go shopping, you go shopping. You go brunch, you want to go to brunch. You want to hang out with the girls. You still get sex. You still get all the above from being with a man. You get protection from other men being
From
with
other
a
men.
man.
Yes, I'm glad you say that.
And but
Right.
you know what? But today, it's men do share in the cooking and cleaning now. It ain't like they looking for you to do it
Exactly.
all. Yeah, the man
just
do
as
But
good
share
as
some of
they
that
do not
responsibility.
share. They do not do half of the job. They share. Maybe they will contribute 15%. 10%, but they do not.
What does that look like to you when the man's doing what you're speaking of?
For example, he cooks, cleans, and makes the bed. Maybe half of the time. He takes care of the child half of the time. So everything he does half of the time. And here is the thing: why do you think you guys like working, right?
Yeah.
Like working? No, I don't like working.
Then why?
What I do.
So why are you telling us that women do not like to work? You guys don't like to work either, right?
No, women work hard now. That's I don't know where you. Women work hard. A woman will work harder than a man if she really wants something.
I don't know about that now, Cookie.
She gonna go out there. I'm just saying because I mean that's how I am. I don't depend on no man to take care of me. But if he helped me, he helped me. But if it's something that I want to get or taking care of my kids, I'm going out there to do it.
Exactly. Imagine, depending on another person, when you are an adult able to work, depending on your husband for clothes. Women would like to work. I like working.
But how are you hearing so many women today straight up saying they do not want to work, that they want a man that could provide for them? Why are you hearing that more and more?
There are. You cannot say that because you don't have the data to back you up.
Well, you know what data I do have. You know what data I do have, Zed. I have the data that says that women are on more antidepressants since they've been joining the work market. Since they are not, and I'll find that for you as well. I also have that other data.
But that is not a good because I am actually a psychiatrist nurse practitioner and I know about antidepressants.
What does that mean though? You have your patients.
Yes, and I know when antidepressants came to the market. Antidepressants were not available, like the tricyclines, the ones that were available in the past. You don't want to take them. They have so many side effects. The ones that have less side effects were created in 1980. So you cannot create. It's like saying that more people were driving cars in 1950 as compared to 1986 to 1886. Well, in 1896. There were no cars. So you are comparing two things. In the past, women there were no antidepressants, at least not the ones that were available were something you don't want to take. But remember, housewives were taking cocaine. And all kinds of stuff to calm them down. Not cocaine.
I don't want to be a housewife. Wouldn't want to be a housewife because being a housewife, it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. That's why
my wife is a housewife, and she does not work nearly as hard as me.
Oh. Okay.
And we have a 5-year-old son, and a 6-year-old son. I'm sorry. And she does not work as hard as me. I wake up in the morning, I go out, I have my employees that I have to deal with. I push through every day. We have a dishwasher at home. We have a washing machine. We have all of those specific things. And you're only doing that once a week, washing clothes. You throw things in the dishwasher, hit a button. You don't clean the house every week. You do that maybe once a week.
I did. When I was a housewife,
my house is really clean, and it's once a week.
I'd rather be working and then sitting at home like that. It wasn't so much as hard work though. Too, it was boring.
Let me ask y'all a question.
Working, you sitting at home.
I can understand that.
Let me ask y'all a question. So, everybody's working for a reason, right? Everybody's working for a reason. We all can agree to that, right? So if we're all working towards financial freedom, what does that look like if there's no more work? What are we here for then? Because I'm hearing everybody say they like to work, But I thought we was all working towards financial freedom, but we don't have to work because that's really not what life's about. Am I right or am I wrong?
Exactly.
So when people tell me that they would enjoy, because I'll tell you what, if I had it my way, I would like to be a house husband. You don't know the type of stuff I would do.
Exactly.
So that's why I say when people say certain things, I listen to it and I can understand your perspective. But then I'm also thinking like, do you know what I would do if I had time?
But no, you see, the only true way you could get time is by putting in work, right? Now to say get up and working for the man, maybe that's not something you want to do. But you still got to bring in an income, which is a level of work. So however that work comes about, it's work. That's what people mean. Most people don't want to get up and go punch a clock and then work 8 hours and have somebody tell you when to take a lunch break. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people want financial freedom where it's like, I'm doing something to make money. I'm doing what I love.
What you love, correct. Mm-hmm.
That's work.
Yeah. I mean, because in the real world, you got to work. I mean,
You
you
do.
just got to work. It ain't no,
And
you can't survive in this world without working.
but see,
Especially United States.
Yeah.
You
the
ain't gonna
problem I
survive.
have is they make it look like, women are, working is different for women than it is for men. Men hate their job, women hate their job. Women have, passion. Like, for example, me, I like being a psychiatric nurse practitioner, but I don't, there are jobs I do that I don't like. So it's the same thing for men. There are things they like to do. There are things they have to do just to get paid. There is no difference between us.
I'm not too. So a psychiatric nurse, you actually sit people down and like deal with them through therapy, or it's more like you just do prescriptions for drugs and things like that when it's needed. So you actually talk to your clients about being single and
being single. Why would I talk to them?
Having sex, and let's say your client comes to you and say, "Hey, I think I want a divorce from my husband." What's your advice?
Well, that is, I mean, I don't understand. I am not a lawyer.
That like she's not the nurse like a psychiatrist or psychologist.
Yeah, hers is a little more detrimental.
Yeah, she talks to them about the type of.
No, I am. I do what the doctors do, like psychiatrists. But a patient is not gonna come to me and say, "Well, I'm gonna divorce my husband." And I mean, I'm not a lawyer.
Okay, so no, it's not about being a lawyer. What I'm trying to say is a person that needs mental guidance, right? To get them through a stressful situation. And they need to talk to a psychiatrist or somebody like you, right? That's what I'm saying. So they sit on your couch and they tell you about their relationship woes. Are you quick to tell them, yo, leave that man? Or are you to tell them, hey, maybe there's things you could look at? I just want to know.
It depends. If they're coming to me for marriage counseling, I will tell them this is, what you guys could work on. But if a woman or a man came to me and said, I am stressed, because I'm going through divorce, I will tell them, this is what you could do to relieve the stress. I don't tell if my patient came and told me they want to get divorced, I will help. I will support them. If they come and tell me I want to make my marriage work, I will support them. It's not,
Okay, so you don't steer them.
You're not steering them in the direction of divorce.
No, not absolutely.
Can't do that, no way.
No, I mean I would lose my license if I do that.
Because I was just going off of you saying that you're all about men and women should just have sex and that's it. So that's why I'm like, okay, are you telling that to your clients?
I don't. I mean, I don't tell them my personal. I mean, are you real? I mean, I
don't know because some people,
because I will lose my license.
Okay.
Yeah, she cannot give her personal opinion to none of her clients. Only thing she can do is listen and give her medical experience advice.
Remember what I said yesterday, Boombox on my show, and I said who not to talk to.
The counselors. Do you guys agree with counseling?
I believe you could talk to a therapist, but I believe talking to male therapists. Because if you talk to somebody that has if you believe somebody has jaded views, personally, I believe it will come across in their advice to you to some degree. And if you are on the fence about marriage and you have a person that you're sitting on the couch with, and that person's kind of telling you, well, I don't know, what do you want to do? Like, go get a divorce then. Okay, get a divorce. I'll put you there. Other than saying, well, what's your whole situation? Let's figure it out and work it out. I would want to talk to somebody that doesn't have a jaded viewpoint of how men and women dynamics, we should just be having sex and that's it. If I had to talk to a counselor.
I don't know.
Well,
I
you
mean,
got
I
men
can't
like that,
agree
too.
with that because that's what I was gonna say. There are a lot of men, and they're not going. And when you go and sit on their couch, they're not gonna tell you their point of view unless you dive in and get to know that therapist beforehand.
I'll be
You're
very
not gonna
mindful
know
with
their
what
point
people
of view.
really think.
Yeah,
if the therapist told you their belief, that is not professional. There are patients that are religious that come to me, and I do not believe in God. I'm not going to be like, oh, you know what you know what, I don't believe in God, so your problem is, you shouldn't even, I don't tell them that. If a therapist tells you their personal belief, and how are you going to find out?
Wow.
How will you find out? Yeah, I'm asking him, but the one.
You asking me?
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. You mean how am I going to find out what their personal beliefs?
Yeah, I want to know.
I just put it like this: you won't know unless they tell you. But my whole thing, more or less, comes along the lines of, is somehow your views intertwined with your education and what you're trying to tell me I need to do. And that's why a lot of men, I'm not gonna lie to you, are so leery about going to therapy. Because it feels like you'll go, and a lot of therapists will be one-sided, right? And I don't mean to change the show at all.
They don't supposed to be one-sided. They're supposed to be biased.
But they do be one-sided. Yeah,
it happens a lot. And this is why, so it's like almost like you almost feel as if there's feminists, and all of that inside these offices telling women how to do things and what to do. And not with women feminists just being women, some feminists are men as well. And it's the viewpoints could be very skewed in anti-marriage, anti-relationships, anti-men. And that could be a problem of some of this divide we're talking about.
Right. Because if people in, I want to say, quote unquote, higher places steer people in the wrong direction, that can be basically almost like a preliminary programming that sets the younger people, whoever's going to see them, in this mindset and have them, going against their own normal thoughts, the normal thoughts that they'll have. And the next thing you know, they'll start questioning themselves, like, should I be married? He said this, or she said this. And then next thing you know, you broke a whole family up. Not saying that's what you do, Zed, but just saying, like, I've heard of it, like, personally, where, say a girlfriend and a boyfriend break up and they have a kid out of wedlock. And then the psychiatrist tells the little girl, hey, don't worry about it. Your daddy left you. And that wasn't even a point. Or don't worry about it. Your mama left you. Don't worry about it. And that those things shouldn't be said. But I think sometimes they're so geared or so glued to the person that brought them there that they start looking at who isn't there without getting that side of the story. And then that builds a whole avalanche of problems.
By the way, what problem do we have? I'm honestly asking because, I'm not a Black American, but I'm a Black person. Black Americans are richer than they have ever been. more educated than they have ever been, living longer than they have ever been, more middle class than there are. And even, I mean, since Obama, at least, the incarceration rate actually is coming down.
Right.
So what is the problem that, when people talk about the Black community, they make it look like, it's like some like Gomorrah, like, everything is falling apart. What is falling apart in the Black community?
Because
It's
we're
fake
not
news.
together. I don't believe it's fake news. We're fighting each other. We're not together. Go to these inner cities. The crime rate is off the chain. It's a lot going on because we are not together. We are divided.
But you said the intercity. Why there are Black middle class communities, Atlanta, for example. If you go to those communities, there is not that much, crime.
Right.
But
why is that?
So you got to think we don't make up that much. What are we? 17% of America.
Yes.
So
As they say.
it's not even that much of us here, as we think in the greater percentage. So when we look at that, we have to say, how can we climb our way to the upper echelons of stats, right? Where we are the most married, we are the most homeowners, we are the most this, we are the most together. Our children are excelling in school. Our children are known to be scholars and this and that. How can we get there? That's where the divide comes, where if you don't have us together, we are worse apart.
Right.
And see, the thing is, Black people always been smart. Always been smart. I mean, they created so much stuff that the white man has taken credit for that just coming out, too. Because there's a lot of stuff I didn't know that it was a Black person did. If it wouldn't be no America if it wasn't for our ancestors.
Exactly.
Back to the fake stats. That's what I'm saying. A lot of statistics.
That means, they just brainwash, to fight each other. That we have to fight each other.
There is no fight over each other. I mean, this is the thing. I liked what he was saying, the other guy. He said, Black people have the low socioeconomic, right? Even though, things are improving, Black people have the highest incarceration rate, the highest poverty rate, the highest maternal death rate. I mean, the highest of bad things and the lowest of the good things, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. But you do not solve that by getting married. Getting married will not make you, Black people were poorer in the 1960s. And in the 1960s, there were more married people, more married Black people. You do not change, you do not make Black people the socioeconomic situation will not change by getting married. It changes by advocating for the government to, invest in Black, community.
But the government is not. They're not going to. Oh, sorry, Link. Sorry about that.
No. I was just going to say, and I do hear what you're saying. But see, when you're looking at those statistics back in the day, and you're looking at them now, you're also looking at we really know how to utilize technology better than anybody else. So getting married would just be the icing on the cake if you think about it that way, because our kids are utilizing technology in toddler years. They can utilize technology better than anybody in the world. And I say this from experience because my daughter was using the computer going places at 1 year old, going all through the internet. So then now when you look at it, now we're saying if we had the right men and women in place raising these kids, then we can blow those numbers up exponentially. But what we do see is when people are having kids, because we're talking about replicating what's happening, having extra kids, reproducing and having healthy kids. Because what we do understand is a lot of these kids, and I know you've seen it yourself too, are trying to hurt themselves or do weird things, or they end up on certain medications because one or the other isn't in the family, and so they're born into a life saying, I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for one parent not to be here. So a lot of people look at that contract of marriage as like, oh, it's just a piece of paper. But you got to be willing to go all in to jump that broom and say, I'm going to be committed on paper. That's just a little extra, a little extraness on the side. But when you look at it, it's, I made a commitment to be with this person for the rest of my life. It may not always work, but when you do make it work, it's the best for these kids coming up in the world moving forward. If you look at it, a lot of these kids without one or the other, or their parents end up somewhere else, they're depressed. They don't want to go outside. They don't have everything they need, the yin and the yang, to be able to move forward in life healthy, with a great self-esteem, great confidence, because they can't see themselves in that other person that might come in and take care of them. They can only see one version of themselves instead of both of the versions that put them together and make them whole. A lot of these kids don't feel whole. They'll look at the next family that does have a whole family and say, well, I'm missing something. Something's wrong with me. And that's why marriage would basically help. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense what I'm saying. But
here is the thing. I am in Switzerland, and if you read them, like right now, I think it's like 60% of Swiss kids are born to unmarried women.
You said
Like,
Swiss kids?
Yes, Switzerland. Yes. So
Well,
most kids. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Oh, let me actually. How do you feel about the Bible biblically? What it say about not being married? You
Well, I
know.
don't believe in the Bible, so.
Okay. Okay.
But here is the thing. I would be okay if you guys just say that, you know what, kids growing up in married families do better,
They
but
do.
they do. But it doesn't change the fact that, for example, in Ethiopia, where I'm from, my parents have been married forever, and everybody's parents are married forever. But we are not, we are still poor. Because marriage doesn't create wealth. What creates wealth is government policies. I will be okay with you guys if you guys talk about the problem in Black community. But where I have problem with is when you say marriage would solve those problems. It won't. In
Well,
1960,
But
go ahead,
you
sir.
know what?
I don't
Marriage
even think
can.
that government policies is what creates wealth.
Yeah,
That's not
because
what creates
marriage
wealth.
can create wealth. It's all about two people coming together. I mean, it's a lot of people, married
And
couples,
that
people
want to be
got
together.
married that didn't have nothing, but they worked
Mm.
so hard together and became millionaires, you know? So
But
that
how many
marriage
millionaires
can
are there?
become,
But even if they didn't
you
become
know, can,
millionaires, they became well off to where they lived
yeah,
comfortable lives that they wouldn't have lived on their own.
Mm.
right.
But that is because America is a rich country. If America was not a rich country, you could get me as much as you want. You could get married. But here is the thing. For example, statistics. White single moms have more wealth than married Black couples.
Because they gonna give that white person a chance before they give a black person. You can take you can take a
Exactly.
white,
Or
yeah,
more
uh-huh.
importantly, they have generational wealth that was created by the government.
And that's not all true. I mean, you can take a single white woman and a single black woman to go apply for the same job, and the black woman can
Exactly.
have more qualifications for that job, but they give it to the white woman because of her color.
Exactly.
So
So
you
the
know, it
problem
ain't,
is systemic.
yeah.
That's what
So
I'm saying. I'm saying that the problem
You
is
saying
systemic.
systemic, right?
But
Getting
you can't.
married is not going to solve it.
Yeah,
But you
but you
can't
know
fight
what though?
policies for that
If
though.
black people, if all black people will come together, just like they got a Chinese town, and they got a Mexican town, and they got Indian town.
But
Where's
we
the
don't have a
other?
town
We
because
don't
we
have
will
one.
not try to unite. We will not try to
Right.
unite for nothing.
I
It's
think this
that.
is
We
so
we just
pessimistic.
having sex. We just having sex and leaving each other. Boombox,
Eh,
you're on mute.
and that is
okay,
that's a big thing too, because
But
if you're
Yeah.
saying go ahead, Boom.
I'm sorry. The reason why they have those things too is because they're not afraid to put their money into the pot and
Mhm.
work it. You have so many people that, especially in our community, well, I can't tell you anything until I get everything that I need to get out of it.
Yeah,
So you just
keep
gotta wait.
everything hush
You
hush.
you know,
But
yeah.
Yeah, that crab in the barrel mentality. They want to get all the way up.
Look, do
Versus
you know who
if I use
started
your
Wall
money, let me
Street?
build more.
Y'all know it's the black people that started Wall Street
Yeah,
right
we
there
know
in
that.
Very well.
Georgia, and they flooded the whole town.
And bombed us.
That
Well,
scared a
it
lot
was
of black people.
multiple Wall Streets. There was Oklahoma, Georgia, and there was the one in Winston-Salem as well.
And then they just came and they took over the whole thing.
They destroy a lot of.
And then if they didn't and if they didn't if they wanted the land or something from the black people and they refused to sell, they'll burn it down just to get it.
And this is exactly why we say. Oh, sorry, Rich.
No, you're good. I was going to ask that. Did she say she have children?
She went off the screen
She
again,
doesn't
but
have
no
any
children. And that's why her stance is what it is.
Right.
That's the main thing because
she's financially stable to even if she had a child with, out of wedlock or whatever, that she can still take it. But if it starts, I'm pregnant again, things start to get a little bit more difficult where I need some help at home because somebody got to watch these kids while I'm working these shifts or whatever. So, I mean,
she's the exception as well. She's the exception as well. And the other thing is that her mindset is set like that because she's already like, I don't need the black man. She's constantly said that over and over again. But what she would realize is if she put in the work and decided to say, hey, there's somebody that really vibes with me and somebody who I would like to see myself with, because guess what? It don't matter how much money you got. Once you get to the end of that line and you are unable to do for yourself, you better hope you got some investments or something saved up because at the end of the day, you're going to need somebody and you're going to need, even like they say, you have kids, you take care of them. Then when you get older, you turn back into a kid. Her not having any kids at this time, and this is no shade, but her not having no kids at this time, who's going to take care of you? I made it a little joke the other day. I said to Treya, I said, hey, man, when I get old, you know what I'm saying? You going to put me in a nursing home? She say, no, daddy, you could come live with me. You're not going to have that. You're not going to have that because you didn't take the chance to put in that hard work and exactly break out of your own perception. Like we say on a lot of these conversations, it's about perception, but it's also about reality at the same time. Yeah. What is going to?
I'm sorry, and she might not understand the concept of the racism that goes on here in America versus what she experiences
where she's from
in Africa.
But she said she lives in America, so she's out here.
I mean, she got to know it's systemic, 100%.
But she lives in modern times where she's a psychotherapist, she's a psychiatrist, she gets money, she's living that single life, she's probably traveling all over the place. So she's living a life of an exception of the majority of Americans. Mm-hmm. So to her, she can do all bad or good by herself. Right. She doesn't need anyone. So the problem I have is that she's sitting people on the couch talking to them.
Right.
That's the problem I have.
And like your guy, what was his name? Media Man. He was like, you're muddying up the water for people that are on the fence about getting married. And see, these people need to know that marriage is really, really good, especially when you do it with the right person and with the right intent. A lot of people don't have the right intent. So who knows? She may have ran into somebody that just totally changed her mind. Like, look, I don't want to deal with that anymore. And I'm in a situation where it's like, I don't have to, but I'll never get to see the fruits of that type of labor.
And I always say, it's okay if you want to live that life. Just don't push that because the majority of women do want families. They do want husbands. So, and we could all agree to that. The majority of women, not all, do want families, husbands, children, right? They want those things. They want the house, the white picket fence, and they would like for a man to provide it for them.
And how many times do we see that narrative, though? Because, again, it's about what we see on the TV. We got to change the music because the music is telling us we don't need. It's been like that. All the misogyny that and Boombox. Sorry, I called my real name, Boombox. To answer your question from earlier, you were like, "Well, how can we change this?" I feel like if we were to change it, men. I think a lot of women that say they don't need a man, they come from a hurt place. So if we can change, men can change the narrative of how women see us, then maybe, they will see the value in us a little bit more. Because a kid looking at a LeBron James who apparently didn't have his dad in his life is LeBron James. He's got billionaire, he's got schools open, this and that, and he just had his mom. So that's where I think sometimes a lot of people feel that, obviously a dad is not necessary if I can be LeBron James, right?
Right.
But then we have
Single
Michael Jordan.
parents that
Michael
have,
Jordan's dad was very influential in his. I mean, Michael Jordan's dad was there. So I'm sorry, Cookie. Go ahead. Or who?
No, I was just gonna say it's more than just James Brown that made it pro by his mother being single. It's other athletes too, but today it's different. It's different now because these kids are very easy to be influenced, and they're more wiser and wicked, and so they do need a village to raise them now.
The whole thing.
And with less men around, more destruction.
Yeah.
More destruction.
So sidebar to what Cookie just said, because us 80s babies and 90s babies, we are the last true real generation, right? Like before the internet, we hold our stuff down. Like we are the last real people on the block, right? But then you look at our kids, I'm like, well, we had these kids that we complain about now. So what happened? What I'm saying? And we complain about every last one of these kids. Like, they different. They wearing hoodies in 100-degree weather, this and that.
I got the answer for that. The answer to that is the houses that didn't have the same type of structure type. So they go and see something else, and then they go back and look at you like, hey, man, you're doing too much, bro. Like, and they like, hey, little such and such on Instagram, he talks to his mama and daddy this type of way. Or they go to their friend house, I can spend the night whenever I want, and they let me smoke weed in the room.
Yeah,
and
a lot of these parents scared of their kids.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, that too.
But think about that. It's mostly, and I hate to say this, it's mostly the kids that only have a mom, and the mom's not going to be when especially if you have sons, the mom's not going to buck up and be like, oh, let's go throw these hands, because that son, to tell you the truth, like we already know, is going to be 10 times stronger, especially once he turns into a teen. You basically talking to a pit bull at that point, especially if he's angry because his dad's not around,
Yeah, and that's gonna happen.
Right, because every kid smells themselves once they start hitting their teens, and if they haven't been in the right structure, then all of a sudden, like that book, all things fall apart.
And I like what Blockchain said about he said a woman can survive without a man, but she would never be able to thrive. And right. That's true, because you can't be everywhere. So you're gonna be working. And I'm not providing all of the needs for yourself, the needs for your children, and the needs for the home.
Right.
And if that's the goal and that's what you want to do, you want to work forever, fine. I say everyone do the desired results that you have, but when you get older, understand that those were your choices. So don't go complaining about what the world didn't give you off the choices that you made when you were younger.
Right.
It's your choice to work. You want to be that until you old and gray, go right ahead. No one's going to stop you. No one's even going to try. Like, I don't think anyone should try to stop a person from wanting to live the life that they want to live. Just don't push that on no one else.
Right, yeah. Right. No matter what agenda you have, if it doesn't align with the quote unquote masses, that's fine. But as long as you're not interfering with somebody else that wants something, like a lot of people will definitely agree. Even young women will say, hey, a lot of people will say, hey, I want to be married. A lot of women, they'll say that's the first thing they think about when they dress up and play all this. I want to be married. Then you turn around and you hear when they get older, I don't want to be married. We have to figure out what happened in between the little 5-year-old girl putting on the mama's wedding dress to when she turns 18 and she's a Babe, I love you. On a wedding ring. Yeah, like we had to figure out what changed her into that. You know, bow, 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 and you know.
But society does that though, you know, because I don't even, in a lot of women that I know don't even like that type of music or behavior. But then, you know, you send your kids to school. And then there are some parents that are not even aware that their child is even listening to that. And now you have this child introducing this behavior and this music to your child when you didn't even allow it to happen. So a lot of times, you know, it's the peers that influence the child to become that person because they try to make it seem like this is cool and this is the thing to do, and it's not, and it's so distasteful. And so now when you hear your child, you know, playing that music or whatever, and because you got to be aware of it being out there, you have had to listen to it or have had to hear it some sort of way, so that when you hear your child reciting it, you're like, hold on, no, we're not. You know, we're not doing that. Now you look like the bad guy, or you look like you're not cool, because this is what's in right now. That's the problem. It's society.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna go out there and hear it no matter what. This is why you got to look. There was something that was mentioned before, not on this show, but on another show that what they say. It was the engine is what keeps a sexy red relevant is the major corporations, right? The record labels and all of that stuff. And in reality, what we got to look at it is like that's done before a record label even shows interest into an artist. They have to almost be selling platinum just off the internet alone. They have to have millions of views before a record label even shows you interest. So this is just what's being consumed. It's just what is being put on YouTube. It's what's being put on, you know, whatever other streaming device, in Instagram and all that other stuff. And then now you have it's being pushed. And then yeah, now the record label's gonna back it because they see dollars behind it.
Right.
So
And if you know, you can sell that, you know, what is it? Pay to promote. So if you're paying to promote, then it's going to get pushed out there, and yeah, then you get all these views, and then now, you know, you got everybody wanting to support your movement. But going back into how they also pushed it, even at the BET Awards, I noticed that a lot of people were, I'm going to say, not dressed.
Oh, butt naked.
Yeah, whatever. I'm trying to keep it. I don't know, because I don't want to say nothing wrong. So I'm not dressed, but yeah. So even that to me was like more so to support what she has going on. It made no sense, absolutely no sense. You talking about Black entertainment television, and this is what it's all about: naked women, naked Black women. This is not who we are.
And it's an agenda, because you got to think about this with Sexy Red. Think about how her lyrics are. They're not lyrics with thought. They're not bars. They're none of that. What it is it's nursery rhymes, like literally nursery. When you hear it, it's a song. So it programs you back into your kid stage where you're la-di-da-di-da, you know, wheels on the bus go round. I bet her next song might be wheels on the bus go round and round, but it's going to be something provocative.
But the problem with them promoting her and supporting her is, even, you know, she was pregnant at one point, had the baby, and there was no sight of a guy. No, I have still yet to see who the child.
Oh, she said he was. She said he was in jail.
Yeah, he was in jail. Yeah, she said that numerous times, and so she's promoting that right there agenda. You know, it's cool for us to go to jail, make babies, and go to jail. See, it's all in an agenda.
It's all jacked up, and
like
that's
that
why
movie,
she's getting the support. Go ahead,
Tyrone.
Clone
Who? What
Tyrone. That was
movie?
my Clone Tyrone.
Clone Tyrone. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies now. It's ridiculous.
What?
Oh yeah, that movie is. And there's no balance to anything that we have. It's either we go hard with just all the foolishness, and like even if like how we
You're
were talking
right.
about how it's an internet question. You need a man. It'll be mostly probably women of color that they'll ask, and whoever is making it, or editing it will just put everybody said no, and won't put the little splash people that do say yeah I need a man, or whatever the case may be, just to get it more divisive, just to create that, just for likes and clickbait and all that other stuff. So that's why it's like there's no balance to our music. You click on the white radio station, they ain't talking about zero of the amount of stuff that we talk about on the radio. So again, Link, it's that agenda. So that's why I just like all this stuff is just a part of the agenda, keep us from procreating. Because like Zed said, white people are not having babies like everybody else is. Who said it? Our old school rap gurus, Fear of a Black Planet.
Well, they weren't having babies. But now, they were going around. You know how they sometimes they have those people that sporadically go and kill, end a lot of Black people. And they'll say because what are they're trying to wipe out the race by there's too many of them. How can you say it's too many of them, yet we're the least when it comes to everything, right? But now they're trying to have more so that they can
we're at 13%. Yeah, keep the
right. They're trying to raise their numbers basically in
that's
population.
Why I say, even with the every commercial is interracial. I have nothing against it, but it's just odd that every commercial is interracial ever since Cheerios came out with an interracial commercial. Everybody got one,
I wouldn't even say. I would say ever since they stopped, because you notice they always push, the same sex in a show and TV and stuff like that. Now it's being pushed where everything is interracial. Like I was even watching someone put something up today about in another country. I can't think of where it's at now, but they hosted a interracial festival for Black men to come and meet white women. And what was social?
Okay, what about the group? I forgot what they call themselves, but it's a group of Black men. They say they hate Black women, and they try to get other Black men to only date white women.
I don't know.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
I never heard of that group. I know there's I know
yeah.
there's a group of Black women that do that. They call themselves divestors.
Okay,
cause my oldest son, he married a white woman, and when he posted videos on Facebook, they inboxed him on Facebook and telling him that they know he glad he got away from Black women, this and that. And he told him you can't help who you fall in love with. He said I still love my Black women. He said, but
SYSBM.
That's different. That's why SBM is save yourself Black men. Yeah. And then there's SYCBM, which is save your community Black men. And that's what some people are trying to push as well.
Oh shoot. They only date white women.
Oh, okay. All right, well.
Well, guys, I just want to say, I don't know what's going on with my mic.
Statement that she made about
I hear you.
Oh, you can hear me?
What's that?
That was Trey.
Oh, go ahead, Cookie. Go ahead.
Oh, like another statement she made when she said her parents been together for years. But the thing is, back then, it was different. Men cheated on their wives then, but they had respect for their wives. They never put the other woman in front of their
main chick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they wife always was first. Their home was always taken care of first, and that's why the black women then stayed with the men because of that reason. But today is different. These men get out there cheating. They put the woman out in the street before they put them, and that's why a lot of them end up in divorce court because of that reason.
All right. Well, hey, you guys, I just want to say thank you so much. We're gonna have that topic that that we was trying to talk
Well
about.
said,
The one that I gotta have I gotta have Cookie in for that one because we definitely gonna have a good conversation on that. Y'all stay tuned for I want to say we're gonna try to run one on Saturday. But if men do man with a panty sometimes. I want to thank the panel, everybody that came in, and we're gonna be out. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you, GMT. Hey, it's a blessing to have you on here. Definitely a blessing, my guy. Rance, thank you. Cookie, thank you. Boom, you know what it is. Until next time. Holla.
Peace.
All right, y'all. Appreciate it.
Peace, y'all.